I'd like to welcome you all to the Sustainability Advisory Board meeting for Monday, February 5th at 6 p.m. Calling the meeting to order. I see there is no one for public comment. Is there? Okay. The item approval of minutes is going to be put off for until next month. Those minutes were not posted, so none of us have seen them. So the approval of the minutes for December 4th, 2017 will be laid over for the March meeting along with the minutes from this meeting, which we're zooming right along. Look at that. We're halfway down the agenda already. So we're down to UW-Oshkosh's Environmental Studies Senior Seminar that we had the final reports at our December 4th meeting, yes. Those were posted for those of you who had a chance to read them. We have many, many, many pages of wonderful information that the students in Dr. Feldman's class provided us. And basically they fell into 4 categories. I'm going to be really bold. You don't have to raise your hand or anything, but if anyone did have time to read all of the pages on all of those, okay. There's a lot of information there, and I was able to skim them, and I know talking with you, a couple of you have skimmed them too, but I don't know that we've digested everything that's in there yet. So we may not be looking at any action on them, but I'm hoping we can have some discussion. The 4 items that they had written about, and keep in mind our charge to the students was to have them create a resolution or give us recommendation for a resolution for these items. It doesn't mean that we have to follow with a resolution. It gives us the option to do that, but we can also explore other avenues of making some of these things happen. So anyway, we had something about green infrastructure. We had residential energy and water conservation, just to refresh everyone's memories here. We had a vehicle idling policy, and we had terraced trees. And I think, Stephen, do you want to talk about any of these or in greater depth or?
Well, I can say that our development review committee met a few times. And so that committee is basically like the department heads and pertinent city staff that are involved with reviewing development proposals in the city. They look at things that'll go to like Plan Commission, Board of Appeals, Common Council, etc. They also looked at these proposals from the students because they would affect a lot of the, their work would be affected by a lot of these proposals. So it was important that they weigh in and at least get their input out there for us to look at and to incorporate, if we make a recommendation here. So what they told me was the terrace tree ordinance and the bike-friendly community certification, those 2 would be the easier ones to implement from their standpoints. The vehicle idling one and the residential energy and water conservation one would be a little bit more difficult. So that was they had some preliminary discussion on it. They didn't go too in depth, but they had a sense of what the students were proposing, and they said that like the transportation director, Jim Collins, for example, weighed in. Public Works, Steve Godey from Public Works weighed in. They kind of talked about the idling one, for instance, and how some of their vehicles, when they're idling, like their buses are idling due to, resident comfort concerns and such, or I should say, passenger comfort is what the reason that the buses idle, and they don't idle that long, is what Transportation Director Collins was saying. Steve Godey was saying that a lot of the public works equipment, is out there idling, if they're doing work and they're keeping it warm during the winter, between different tasks that they're doing. The snow plows might be idling if they're waiting to, pick up salt or whatever. So they have their reasons, and I'd have to go a little bit more into it with them and engage in some more discussions with them, but they had some preliminary discussion. That's kind of where they are in terms of what they were thinking.
And when Stephen had shared that with me, I pointed out that it didn't have to be a resolution for the vehicle idling that affects, but what it could be is more of a public service campaign where we help everyone in the community understand the benefits of shutting off their engines while they're waiting for the train that's lumbering past, or while they're behind the big SUV with 12 kids in it that's in front of them at the drive-through. So there would be times, or my personal favorite is when the bridge is up and you can sit there for several minutes and breathe everyone's fumes. So there would be some possibilities to have voluntary compliance and just create the, what's the word I want?
Culture.
Culture.
Yeah, thank you. Create the culture of not creating more greenhouse gas emissions than we need to. It's a lot of, pretty much everything in life is just awareness, isn't it? You know, communication and awareness. On the other hand, like the Terrace Tree program that was outlined, apparently they did feel at the City Development and Review Committee that that was something that was doable. So that's probably that's probably the top one that we need to start with and look at. And Jason.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't the comment during that meeting that we're kind of already doing it, we just don't have it adopted in official policy regarding the trees and how we approach where to plant them, when to plant them?
I believe they've been following some
They
plan
do
with
have- yeah, they
tree
do have a
planting. I know
policy.
they
Yeah.
put in 327 new trees in 2017,
Mhm.
because I just asked the other day. I needed to know. So yes, they are following a plan, but it's something that could be adopted as a resolution. Whereas when we had visited this 8 years ago or something, and we didn't have enough information to write the plan, a resolution that would be workable, at that point we couldn't do it. So, yeah, so that one's back, which is awesome.
Sounds like the bike-friendly certification, I mean, that would be hopefully something we could do. I mean, starting from where we are, because we have our bike ped plan and everything, and see when they.
Did, Stephen, when you spoke with the bike ped people, did they think they wanted to deal with that? Did they want us to visit that?
I think
Where should that be?
Yeah, long term, they were looking at taking that on, and they were interested in it. But I know the planner that is a staff person for Bike Ped Advisory Committee said that their primary goal right now, or focus, is their plan update. So once they get the pedestrian bicycle circulation plan updated, then they would look at it. Is kind of where it seems to be with them.
Sounds familiar.
It does, doesn't it? Okay, does anybody have any additional thoughts on any of these, or anything that you particularly would want to see us be working on that you have a greater interest in than the other things? Well, I'll tell you what. They're all online there, you know, you can find them all. When you've had the chance to review and read the one that you're most interested in, then we can bring that back and take a look at it. And it will come up again down here on our goal setting for the year anyway, so. Okay, if there's no further discussion on that point, I'll give you a very quick Live Green update. There is none. Okay, then we'll move on to the next. There really isn't one. There's been no movement on that yet at all. We don't know if it's happening or not. Number 6 on here are SAB workshop and goal setting session. We got this pretty little chart that Stephen made for us. Did y'all get this? Yeah, did you see your name on there where it should be? Do you want your name added anywhere? It can be arranged.
Yeah, some of these I just put SAB because I wasn't sure. I didn't want to sign things without, you know. But
Well, you just put down whoever didn't show up. I told you. No. Okay, so one thing is the number 1 action item under ICLEI.
And I wasn't sure about that because I know that was another thing that actually I was asked by Darren, you know, my boss, about because the renewal for ICLEI came up. So
There is a fee that we pay for that every year.
Yeah.
to have access to their site and everything.
And so the question was, do we want to maintain that? Do we want to renew it? Do we want to keep this as a goal on our goal sheet here? Or, you know, what's the consensus on that, or what's the opinion on that? I don't know if we want to address that tonight, or,
Well, I guess I would ask the question, is there anyone currently on the board who is interested in doing the research on Milestone 3 this year, or that even knows what we're talking about? ICLEI's been a part of the SAB since its inception. Milestone 1 took us like 10 years and to get to. Okay, maybe it just felt like 10 years. Maybe it was only 8 or something. And then Milestone 2 and 3 go hand in hand and have not, they've been presented to the council. They haven't formally been approved by the council yet because could be a cost included with that. But basically, Milestone 1 was getting the greenhouse gas inventory for the city and for the municipality and then for the community. And we do have that information. It's based on 2007 numbers, I believe. Does that sound right, Michelle? I think so.
I think so.
We completed it in 2012. And then we worked with East Central for a year on working on Milestone 2, which was to set goals. But the Milestone 3 is to create an action plan to meet those goals. And that's where a lot of work is going to have to go into that again. So I guess my personal feeling is that I'm not sure that's the greatest impact we can have on our community. I think that some of the other outreach and education things we do might help our community move forward in sustainability at a faster pace. So I personally do not want to be spending my time working on the milestones. In the past, we have had some board members that are adamant about that, and if any of you are, well then please let Stephen or me know later, and we can bring you up to speed on it, bring you up to date on it, and we could then share that with Darren. But at this point, are we in a holding pattern with it, or did they decide not to renew? I know it
No.
has to be a part of the budget.
they did not decide anything as far as I'm
Okay.
aware of. He
So-
just posed a question to me, and
Okay, so they're waiting to find out if we have any feedback on it, sort
Yeah.
of. Okay. Well, okay, we're done with 1/3 of this. That was ICLEI.
I was just gonna
Oh.
mention, since I had been a part of ICLEI a little bit, I just feel like the actual figuring out how we're gonna get those goals or complete those goals would be hard to do in our little silo. I think that would have to be a very intense collaboration between city staff and departments and the board and different things, because we could just say, yeah, do this by doing this, easy, right? And they'd just be like, no, we can't do that, or that's not how this works, or, you know, it'd just be, I think it would be difficult for a SAB volunteer to get that much information together outside of the, I don't know.
It needs
be a
to
lot
have
of
a
time.
steering committee, basically,
Yeah.
that would incorporate all the parts of the city.
Mm-hmm.
Not unlike the green team that we proposed 2 or 3 years ago.
Yes.
Okay. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to share on that? Okay. So under our action items, we have all kinds of good stuff. If there's anything there that you would like your name added to or removed from, now's the time to speak up.
Can I see
Would
yours?
you like to
Did
see
not
one?
Bring mine
Yes,
with.
you
I apologize.
That's
Thank you.
okay. And you can let us know too afterwards, Vic, or if you'd like some updates on some of them. I realize that since we did this exercise the last time, we do have several new board members, so it makes it a little tricky.
What is the green infrastructure audit? We need a reminder there.
that actually is something that we are looking to have the spring semester students work on us, or
Okay.
work with us on.
Okay, not the Milestone 3?
No, it's
No.
a separate thing.
Okay, because I just see Oshkosh ES students there, so they're,
Oh, I see your concern.
okay, I'm just, okay, so the students will be working on point 4.
Yeah,
Okay,
and so that is basically, a number of departments, including like Public Works, Economic Development, us in planning, are looking at we want to look at our municipal codes, zoning codes and such, and see how those help or prohibit green infrastructure in the city. So we kind of want to go through those, establish a baseline as to what we're doing now and what our codes allow for now, and maybe how we can improve those codes to allow for more green infrastructure. So that's kind of what that's all about. And it's through the Wisconsin Sea Grant Institute. This is kind of the material here. It's a big packet, a big book that kind of explains everything about the audit, and then there's the actual audit tool, which is a bunch of worksheets and stuff that allows you to fill it out, and you cite the codes and the relevant language and stuff, and grade yourself essentially in terms of what you're doing and how you can improve.
And that was one of the things that we covered in our January workshop.
Yep.
Okay.
And I apologize, Jason, you're right, it's on here, and I skipped right over it without meaning to, so, it was on the agenda also. But we have already decided that we were asking this semester's students to help us with that, right?
And part
Okay.
of the reason why is because a number of people at city staff want to work on it, wanted it to be something that we pursued, and they kind of directed me. I know my boss directed me to start working on it. And I figured it'd tie in really nicely with what we're doing as the SAB here.
And it'll be a really good experience for the students too, I think,
Yeah.
so.
And we've had issues come up too where like one example is like permeable pavers. They're an alternative to like just concrete or asphalt parking surfaces, but I don't think they're explicitly mentioned at all in the zoning ordinance. So we had something where, someone wanted to expand their parking area, but we have impervious surface maximums for residential lots in the city. So if he was to expand on an already non-conforming lot, he would be even more non-conforming. He wouldn't be able to do it, basically. So we looked at, could he do permeable pavers or some kind of grass pave or something as an alternative, and something that would be a kind of a compromise and work for both, the ordinance and then what he wanted to do. But right now our ordinance doesn't say anything about it. So could we, improve our ordinance so that it might actually promote that type of thing, as an example? That would be what this is looking to get at.
Can I make a note under education and outreach, number 1? I'm pretty sure that means
Native
that's
plant?
plant
Plants,
instead
yep.
of plan.
Yep.
Brochure.
Typo there.
Yeah. A little confused.
And
but-
Margie actually
Got
pointed
it.
that out too, so thanks.
Yeah. So that's the same one we've been working on for a while, right? It's just,
Yes.
I know we've mentioned a couple times we don't have to reinvent the wheel because a lot of people have things out there, but was this supposed to be kind of on what we're doing for native plants, what like residents can do? Can you remind me? I don't remember.
Well, where this has ended up most recently is a retired horticulturist from the county had come to me with a lot of information that they wanted to share. And it's not the Master Gardeners program, but it was the actual horticulturist from the county, and gave me a lot of information that when it was too much for a brochure. So we ended up deciding that it would fall into 4 different categories. So we'd have native trees, a brochure of that, native bushes, native flowers, and something else.
Grasses,
Must
probably?
be, I don't know.
Flowers and
Thankfully,
ferns.
I've got it written down at home. And I've been very slowly working on just basically collating that information and getting it into a brochure format that we can share.
Okay.
But as soon as I have that, I will bring that to you guys. But don't look for it for, I would say, a couple of months. Because we have so many other wonderful things to do. Okay. One thing that we should probably talk about soon is if we want to try to do a rain barrel workshop in the spring, we're going to need to, so people have it for this summer. I know people prefer to have their rain barrels early in the year rather than late. Otherwise, they tend to put them in their shed and forget they've got them next spring. So we should probably be looking at that and deciding if we'd want to basically hire the group that's worked with us in the past, or if we want to do it ourselves and get the, and pull that together. So I think that we have the education and know-how, and I think we also can source the materials and make it happen if we want to. And looking at those of you that I think might be involved, I'm seeing some nods, so, okay. We will maybe, we might need to have just a little separate meeting later to, at some point, to put that together, yeah. Okay, was there anything else on here? I think we have Menominee Shoreland coming up yet. I don't see anything else on my list that I need to share on. Do you guys? No? Okay. If there's nothing further then on our workshop and goal setting, and of course, this is a fluid document, we can always add to it, but it does give us some focus for the year. And Michelle has another thought.
One more.
Yes.
Okay. So the last item, recycling and cleanup.
Yes.
That's pretty general. Is that like just in general we should encourage those things, or are we organizing something, or I missed it because I wasn't here.
Oh, you weren't at the
Question.
workshop.
No, I was
Okay.
sick.
That's right. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I forgot. We did the sticky note thing where we,
Oh, sure.
and it came
Okay.
up, as you can see,
I think the context there was getting more recycle bins out in Menominee Park.
Oh.
Didn't we
to
used to do
see
that
if we could
before,
get
but
the
we
Parks
stopped?
Department to
Oh,
actually
recycle
include them.
bins along with the garbage.
And
Yeah.
at like the farmer's market
Yep.
and
Yep.
maybe just
Okay.
education on what actually is recyclable within the city of Oshkosh versus what people just think is recyclable.
That makes sense.
And encouraging people to actually use it and to understand that the blue bin means one thing and the black bin means something else, so. But yes, that was our main concern, was that they just aren't available, so. And
Not
guess what? Then
convenient.
they don't get used.
Yep.
Okay. Anyone? Okay. Next thing is the farmer's market. Stephen, I see you have a little farmer's market pack there. What are our options?
Yep, so just like last year, they are looking for us to, if we want to return to participate in the farmer's market this year, they want us to get back to them, I think by February deadline on.
We should decide
26th.
tonight.
So, yeah, we should decide, I think all of you have it in your packets. So, I don't know if we want to pick like 4 days again, and they have the options on the back, the last page here.
Yeah, basically Saturdays in the summer, right?
They have quite a few options to choose from, kind of like last year, so.
Yeah, it starts on June, what's the first date?
June 2nd.
June 2nd, okay.
Yep.
Does anybody have any strong feelings of days they could not do in June? I could not do June 9th. Or the 30th.
You can put me down for whatever, like last year, but I really wanna find at least one recycling bin that we can have in our booth, maybe from a local business that has one but doesn't use it very much, or, I mean, cause all the businesses must have them down there. and it's-
Well, I'd like to see a 55-gallon blue drum, right, that we
Yeah.
could just encourage people to throw in.
Yeah, but
For our, yeah, and we talked about that at the workshop, how that would be great to both promote and to help out at the farmer's market.
yeah,
Okay, so in June, we could do the 2nd, the 16th, or the 23rd?
as long as college isn't in, I'm good.
I work every other weekend, but
Okay.
I have the 2nd and 16th off as well.
Okay, so I would say 2nd or 16th in June.
Okay.
And you can put it down as an either or too, and they can assign us if you want, but
Okay.
what's available. And then in July, the Saturdays fall on 7, 14, 21, and 28. Are there any dates there that people who would be doing this absolutely cannot make it? Okay, I'd say try to space them between the other ones then, probably. And August, we have the 4th, the 11th, the 18th, and the 25th.
I cannot do the 18th, if that matters.
Okay, so we'd be down to the 4th, 11th, and 25th, so if we were going towards the first of the month or the end of the month, right? Okay. And then it goes into September too, right? We usually do? Of course, school starts again then, so does that make it too difficult?
No, as long as it's really early.
Okay. First is gonna be the Labor Day weekend, 8th, 15th, 22nd, and 29th. So I'm hearing you say like the 8th or 15th would be best? Okay. Does that work for everyone?
Mhm.
Okay, and then I would opt not to even put down an October date because it's probably gonna be cold.
Nobody showed up on that one this year.
Yeah.
Attendance just tanks.
Yeah, I think that our time could be
Yeah. it's
used
not
more
fun
efficiently
anymore.
elsewhere, yeah.
And then July, we were pretty flexible with that. Any of the dates in July, we could,
Yeah, I
Okay.
was gonna, except, did you have one, Vic, that you couldn't do?
I work every other weekend, so I'm trying to figure out what my weekends off would be real quick.
okay.
The 14th. That's true. Yeah. 14th would work best for me personally, but again, just one person. So.
Okay, thank you all. Menominee Shoreland Restoration, do we have anyone here who could give us an update? Michelle, thank you.
Of course. Not much to update at this point. We're gonna be getting together for a meeting soon, probably towards the ends of the month. I wanted to do it earlier this month or late last month, but, again, illness set in. It's been a bad one this year, so, yeah, we're gonna be getting together to talk about this next season. That seems like it's never going to come, but it will. And we also have a Facebook page now, so.
Ooh la la. What's it
Find us on
called?
Facebook. Friends of Menominee Park Shoreland. It's not cumbersome at all. But I've been trying to think of a new name that's just shorter, quicker, anything, but it hasn't come to me yet. So if anyone has any suggestions, feel free to message us on Facebook and let us know. But yeah, that's the extent of the update for Menominee Park Shoreland.
All right. Well, you'll get so many hits tonight on Facebook, you won't know what hit you. Okay, well, I know several of us were in a meeting just prior to this for the Environmental Leadership Award that we've been discussing. Anybody just really wanting to give the update on that? Oh, such quiet.
Just do a summary of it, just.
Okay, I will. It was a great meeting, it was short and we're done. No. We did decide on some categories, we decided on a timeline, we decided on how we want to start framing it, and it's going to need some more work before we're ready to announce it. So we are definitely looking at having an Environmental Leadership Award in the future. We just don't know quite what it looks like yet or quite when it's going to happen. But sooner rather than later, and looks like it's going to be fantastic.
And the plan was to have a draft application process / form by March, correct?
Correct, yes.
Yep.
Yes, we hope at the next meeting that will be able to be discussed.
When is the next meeting for that? Discuss it?
It's going to be just before this meeting next month, so it'll
Oh,
be
okay.
on,
No, it'll be at 5:30.
Okay. Hopefully I can make it that week.
and there'll be a notice sent too for that, so
Cool.
it'll have to be a separate notice. Okay. Agenda items for a future meeting.
So we'll have a leadership update.
What does that look like? A leadership update?
Right, so we'll have the 5:30 thing, then we'll have an update to share with everyone.
Oh, on the
Update of
Environmental
that.
Leadership Award, yes, okay, yes, thank you. I'm like, are you volunteering to be our new leader? That's what I heard.
And obviously, we'll keep on the shoreline restoration. We just keep that on all the time. It's great. Do we want to have the farmer's market again on there to find out what we've known
Yes,
by next
probably
time?
should.
What,
If I find out,
Dates.
yeah, I'll put it on there, and then if I have any update, at least we can discuss it then.
And it's a possibility we'll have a Live Green update, but we'll just have to wait and see.
well,
That-
you won't be here for March, right? So will we even, will we have one? Or will you send it to me? Okay.
I will not be here for the next meeting, but Michelle has graciously accepted my invitation to run the meeting and to collaborate with Stephen beforehand on the agenda. So thank you so much.
Welcome.
Okay, then. Our next meeting will be Monday, March 5th. I should say your next meeting will be Monday, March 5th. 5:30 for the Environmental Leadership Award meeting and 6 o'clock for the Sustainability Advisory Board meeting. And with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn to workshop to discuss the sustainability plan update.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All righty. Thank you.